welcome to the Lighten Up Podcast with Lauren Polly, your invitation for living on the lighter side of life. I'm Lauren Polly, and I am delighted you've chosen to join me today for episode 151, Out Creating Your Potential. Potential is a very interesting conversation. I'm sure at some point, somewhere along your life journey, someone has come up to you and said, you've got potential for this. And it's kind of a mixed bag. It's a mixed gift, right? Part of it feels really good when someone comes up and sees the raw ingredients you have to work with, all that raw material of your skill sets and your qualities and your energies and your personality traits and your education background, and really sees that you have something to offer. There's a sense of acknowledgement there that is really, really delicious and pops an interest in us and makes us want to lean in and explore more. The tricky part comes when that beautiful sense of acknowledgement and interest of being seen fully starts to get twisted into their perspective of what you should be doing and how you should be doing it. Potential is something that is really given as a good thing in this reality. Well, you have potential for this. What it actually ends up turning into in the long run is a measuring stick in which you constantly judge yourself against. If you are living up to your potential or if you're not, if that potential and that end game is coming quick enough and the way it should be, if you are really stepping up and really choosing it, then it should be here by now. There's all sorts of harsh inner conversations really based in self-judgment that come up around this. This topic really pops for me. I'm somebody who, throughout my entire life, I would say, has been given that mixed bag of gifts where people see me and they go, wow, you have potential for this. And being really tuned into other people and really aware of what they want from me and what they need from me. And also just their general point of view about what I am and what I should be doing, those things have become louder in my world than what I would actually truly like to do with my raw ingredients in my own creative path. I'm sure a lot of you out there probably feel the same way. How often have other people's voices about what you could be for them, what you could be for the world, how they see you utilizing your special gifts, have become louder than your own inner desire of how to create that for yourself. And how often has that really led into this judgmental measuring stick of whether or not you're doing it correctly, whether or not you're doing it quick enough. And then some of you may be on the flip perspective where someone comes up and says, oh my God, you could be this. And you go, no way am I being that. We either go into two extremes, right? We either agree with them full on and push ourselves to do that and be that, or we go into complete resistance and say, absolutely not, even if that thing is something that may bring you joy and may create for you, because it was given to you in this kind of point of view, judgmental way, you reject it completely. It's very important to look at where this potential thing has been said to you or given to you and where it may be stopping you now. The thing that stops it or sticks it in our space a lot is because there is a little bit of a truth to it. Again, it feels good when someone acknowledges you. It feels good when your unique gifts and skill sets are seen. It feels really good when someone goes, wow, you could be this, and they get all excited about it. It gets sticky again because the judgment gets interwoven in that acknowledgement. And before you know it, you're more stuck. Because something about it feels good, something about it doesn't feel good, and oh goodness, how much energy you use trying to piece that apart. For me, one really fun analogy just to look at this, of looking at the difference between the potential conversation about what you should be doing with your raw material versus the much more open conversation of the possibilities you have to play with that raw material, is like being in the kitchen and cooking a meal. You could be in the kitchen and have a plethora of ingredients, this raw material, and you can totally go about the path of exploring and experimenting and mixing it together and being present in the moment with, hey, I'm in the mood for this dish, not that one. I'm going to mix it up a bit. You can be more in that creative edge zone where you are paying attention, you're listening, you're including yourself, and you're able to experiment and play. That is the possibilities and the acknowledgement in, here's a lot of raw material, explore. That's super different than this potential conversation, which is like someone sticking you in the kitchen and saying, hey, here's all the raw material you have to use. It's amazing. And here is the exact recipe you need to follow in order to maximize your ingredients. Now, if you feel into that, there's not a lot of growing room. There's not a lot of room to experiment. There's not a lot of creation in that either, because you are so looped into that one way. This is the way to do it. That is a recipe that comes from the outside and is given to you of here's the raw material. This is the best thing to do with them to maximize the results. And then unfortunately, what occurs? Well, here you are, you're kind of stuck in this one recipe about what you're supposed to do. You again either fight it and resist it and get a little angry that you have all this delightful stuff to play with and only one way to play with it. Or you go about trying to maximize it and really living up to this recipe. And before you know it, every step of the way, there is the potential for judgment, whether or not you do it correctly. Heaven forbid you burn something or add a little extra salt and the whole thing is messed up and you failed. It's kind of interesting to look at how much of your failure tendencies, like the way of being afraid to fail, so not wanting to even try, keeps you out of the kitchen altogether, right? Or going it and then kind of judging every step of the way, what was a success and what was a failure based on the results that you got, based off of this recipe for maximizing your potential. Now, if you feel into that, right, it's not super light, it's not super delicious. It's not that first initial hit of someone going, wow, you have amazing raw material. You could really create some cool stuff. I wonder how you'll utilize that. It goes very quickly from that into the shoulds and the shouldn'ts. It goes very quickly into here's the end game. You need to put your stuff together to meet this one goal or this one target. Not a lot of open space, right? And it's kind of funny because this potential conversation is not just in business or jobs or careers. It also extends into personal relationships. How often have you met somebody and they go, oh my God, you have the potential to be this for me. You have the potential to be my one and only. You have the potential to be my best friend. You have the potential to be my worst enemy. And before you know it, here comes a very defined recipe, role, and costume that you have to put on and actually live up to the potential of. Again, there's no choice there. And yes, this is not something where people say, you don't go on a date with somebody and have them say, you have the potential to be my future wife. Lucky you. A lot of times this is way more non-cognitive, non-linguistic, non-spoken. It's more covert. It's more unseen, unsaid, but you're still aware of it. The energy of that is still there. You can read those projections and expectations they have of you. And quite frankly, you get a download of that potential and that recipe they want you to follow to live up to it. Again, there's not a lot of open space to create and to play. And when you meet somebody who's doing the potential thing, especially in a relationship format, what do you want to do? You want to get away as quick as possible, right? Or when you're in a long-term relation with someone like a family member and they have that potential thing, it creates constant barriers and struggles between the two of you. And sometimes just a struggle in yourself because you want to please the other person. You love them, you care about them. And because you don't want to use your ingredients to create what they desire you to create, you make yourself wrong instead. And you turn that inner battle inward to yourself to keep it away from them. No matter how you break this conversation down, the bigger picture is the conversation of potential, the promise of potential, and the perfection of potential is really one that is based in judgment. It's one that is based in a very limited menu of options that you can choose from. It creates a measuring stick that you constantly have to be measuring up or not measuring up to. It's just a way for you to continue to doubt yourself as you move forward with your life. No one wants to live that way, and so much more is possible. Instead, allow that acknowledgement to come in that yes, you have amazing ingredients to play with. You have amazing raw materials. And you know what? You have an infinite amount of possibilities on how you want to use all of that. And it may grow, it may change, it may evolve. You may do one thing once and get a lot of pleasure, and then you may change tracks totally. You may never reference back again to that one success you had and try to live up to the potential of a repeat performance. You may choose to do something different. You are never the same in any given moment. You have to allow yourself and your material and your creations to continue to evolve with you and with that. If it wasn't about living up to potential, but was about playing with the infinite possibilities and really being tenacious enough to continue to explore, not being stuck and stubborn and pushy enough to constantly doggedly chase that one potential and that one result, what would be possible? Now, this is a big conversation. This may be at play for you in a myriad of different ways. I highly suggest you, people out there who are entrepreneurs, definitely look at where this may be at play in your business, especially because you are typically starting from scratch and kind of putting something together that's never existed before. How you're using your raw materials in order to do that. Are you trying to live up to a potential that you've adopted or that other people have put on you? And is that maybe holding back what you can create? If you are out there in the workforce in a traditional job, where is this at play? And where are you constantly getting this potential lie from your bosses and supervisors or your employees? And I invite you to really dig deep and look at your personal relationships. Where has there been a lie of potential put on you by the people in your life? And truly that potential is someone's excitement of, oh my God, you're amazing. And then very quickly turning into, and you have the potential to be this for me. Their needs, their desires, their wants of you start to outweigh your choice to create whatever it is you desire. Start to unpack it, start to explore a little bit more. And it's not about pushing away other people's stuff and projections and potential they're putting on you. It's not about fighting it. That won't create a lot. Just relax into the awareness of it. Get really clear of like, wow, that person really wants me to be this for them. Or wow, they really see a lot of what I have to offer, but they're really defined in the way that I have to do it. That doesn't quite work for me. But what if it wasn't about getting into a fight or a battle or an argument or judging them? What if it was just relaxing into the awareness that, hey, that's there. And it's my choice whether or not I go there or not. And I just wonder how I could perhaps outcreate all of what they see for me and more. Enjoy this, play with this, unpack it. Yes, again, it's kind of a dense topic, but I'm hoping to lightening it up and being able to start exploring it more, changing and flipping the potential into possibilities. So continue to play and explore. And as always, you can find me at laurenpolly.com and have an amazing week. I will chat with you next Tuesday.